I don't like deleting my units unless I really have to clear up space for more squads. But Guardians aren't as useful as the Aspect Warriors at this later stage in the game. I've got a Seer Council at this point, which is a group of mainly... It's almost like a group of low-level heroes. They're very cool units. They're quite durable and they're good in combat, and they can have cool upgrades. Here are some Dark Reapers. These are the Tier 2 heavy firepower Eldar units, which are really good at taking out heavy infantry. They've got great guns. They're quite mobile despite their role. So I'll be making use of them against those Chaos Space Marines. They'll be really handy, I hope. Had a lot of stuff to say about Dawn of War and Starcraft, but I can't remember. Oh yeah, one of the big complaints about Dawn of War, one of the negative things, before I just go over the positive things again, but one of the most negative things is that all of the races in Dawn of War, even though they're characterized quite well, they've got the character and the spirit of the races really well, and they're all fun to play and they feel different. They aren't different mechanically. I mean, they all have an equivalent role unit, like any particular kind of squad, almost, in each army is mirrored by another army. And they've all got the same listing posts, upgrades. They've all got the same kind of reliance on the same resources. They all use everything pretty much the same way. Eldar and Orcs have a few little characteristic discrepancies there, but just in general, there's less race variance, less race diversity than you would find in, say, Warcraft or Brood War. The other big negative thing about this game is that apparently it's quite imbalanced. I haven't really encountered that because I haven't played multiplayer yet, but all of the complaints that I've heard from serious people who are into real-time strategy and have played this game seriously have said that this game's not imbalanced through its patches and its expansions, and Relic have not focused on that. And it really surprises me that a game, A, would have bad racial diversity, and B, have bad balance. I mean, usually you'd have one at the expense of the other, but these guys apparently have got both of that wrong. So that's really to this discredit, and amazingly a game like Starcraft has very distinct races, but it's perfectly balanced, and that's a really amazing thing to the credit of Starcraft. But on the other hand, if you want to watch really fun battles like the battle we're watching right now, a massive conflict between the Eldar and the Chaos, and a vehicle coming in here, Falcon, anti-gravity tank, blasting units. I mean, this is the game to be playing if you want to watch cool battles like this. Starcraft, obviously a 2D game with small units and 10 years old, doesn't give you quite the visual kick that this game does, but bear in mind, Starcraft, of course, very tactical. There's more to say about it when you're watching a game, and obviously it's more interesting watching awesome players at Starcraft fight each other than it is watching really awesome players at, say, Dawn of War playing, I assume. Not that I've watched that, I mean, I can't really say that yet, but it's my assumption, based on what other people have said, that whose sources I trust, that's true. The other cool thing that I love about this game is the fact that you can mix and match your colours. You can choose which Space Marine chapter you want, and there's a preset colour list for them. And you can also customise your colours, and that allows something visual about the player you're facing off against to be associated with them as a person, because you can just customise the way your army looks. Not an extremely significant thing in terms of multiplayer, but I think that's a really cool game feature which other game companies could take note of. Just allowing anything in a game, a multiplayer game, that allows you to personalize the way you play it and the way it looks or the way it performs is a good thing, and I really like that. As you can see, I've got a rather large Eldar force at the moment, and I've won a major battle in the middle of the map, so I've secured more than 50% of the strategic points around the map, so things are going well for me, raking in a lot of requisition. Because here I've been attacked by a Chaos Raptor squad, and for some reason my little Dark Reaper team had got waylaid and had hit over to the enemy base. It was a total noob thing by me, but what I've done is I've toggled on the fleet of foot ability, running them away so you don't lose your squad, and then the whole army can deal with the Raptors chasing them. Yeah, so an interesting thing about this game is that the squads don't die very quickly. Takes ages to kill a squad, and if your squad is losing units, all you got to do is run it away to somewhere safe, hit the Overwatch button, which is the button which automatically replenishes the squad, and one by one individual units in the squad will come back. So that makes Eldar quite powerful when they're using a fleet of foot in the hands of a skilled player. Not that I'm a skilled player here, and by the way, I just actually assassinated his Chaos Lord in the middle of the combat. Using my Farseer Mind War ability, it's an ability which focuses on an individual target. I've used it a few times this game, and used to pick off the Chaos Lord there. Army's getting pretty big at this point, having a lot of fun with all of these big units, tacking up to things like tanks and so forth. By the way, guys, the resolution of this video is a bit lower because Dawn of War takes up more CPU usage, and using gun cam at the same time, it really choked, so I had to lower the resolution a bit. I know probably some of you will be complaining that you can't really see too much about what's going on. I know that's a shame. I'm trying to zoom in occasionally, but it's the best I can do, so you guys will have to make do with that. Getting quite near to my opponent's base, which is the top right corner of the minimap. The minimap's I'm not used to it because it's tilted so it's a diamond rather than a square. So I guess I can use the clock positions. If the enemy's at the 2 o'clock, I'm over at the 1 o'clock. It's one way of putting it. But yeah. So Dawn of War, guys. Dawn of War, Warhammer 40,000, Eldar vs Chaos. By the way, if I didn't mention this before, my actual username, Vaul, V-A-U-L, actually comes from the Warhammer 40,000 universe, so it's kind of a more appropriate name for me to use in Dawn of War than it is to StarCraft. I mean, the story behind that is that I picked the name Vaul when I first started playing StarCraft, when I first tried it out years and years ago, before I got into multiplayer, and I chose that as my online name, and then when I came back to it, it's still stuck, and I kept it there. By the way, here's a Wraith Lord. It's the Eldar vehicle support unit, the walking dreadnought equivalent, and here he is kicking away enemy units and flaming stuff and blasting people with his star cannon. Really badass stuff. Really cool looking. They've put a lot of work into these particular vehicle animations. All of the dreadnoughts and the Killer Can and the Wraith Lord and so forth have animations where they pick up units and crush them and kick them and throw them around and blast with their guns. So I mean that's where a lot of the effort into designing this game has gone. I mean that's the style that's coming in, and wow, big blast there. That's the upgraded Farseer Psychic Storm ability. I think it's the Eldritch Storm, which I cast there. So very powerful stuff. Really cool watching that kind of thing go off. Got the Wraith Lord just standing and having a firefight with some Chaos Space Marines there. Better thing for me to have done would be to move into combat, but I didn't multitask it. I think it's definitely good that this game requires a lot of multitasking. You've really got to go back through your base and get all your unit upgrades quick, as well as moving units through the battle and making sure you pull out the ones that are about to die. Very good strategy in this game is just to pull out units which are down to 1 or 2 members, to a squad which is down to 1 or 2 warriors, and pull them out and then replenish them. That'll save you requisition points in the long run. And unfortunately my Wraith Lord here has taken a lot of hits, but he's got a buddy backing him up, so the duo of Wraith Lords walking across the battle. I remember when back in the earlier renditions of the 40k universe, a lot of these units had different names, and Relic Entertainment and Designing Dawn of War have just basically gone with the latest edition of the tabletop game and directly translated all of the unit models and the general strategy of across. So I actually felt like I had a head start in understanding the strategy of this game just based on the fact that I played the tabletop. I knew that Dark Reapers, for example, were really good at heavy infantry. I knew that Banshees were really good at rushing in and hurting their opponents with their Warcry skill, and I knew that Farseers had a particular role of assassinating enemy targets as well as blasting with area of effect and so forth. So as an Eldar player in the tabletop game, I felt that just switching over to Eldar as the race for this game to be quite easy. Just switching over to the Chaos space again. It's really cool how the interface down the bottom actually switches skin when you do this. I've got the Space Marines here marked as Emperor's Children, which are the in Warhammer 40,000 tabletop terms, there are 4 Chaos gods, and these guys worship the Tzeentch one or the Tzeentch, depending on how you want to pronounce that. And the Emperor's Children are a chapter of Chaos Space Marines, which have the sort of pinkish color scheme. As far as I can recall, Games Workshop buffs might like to correct me on that, but I think I've got that right. The Eldar are the red ones, the same handcraft world, if that means anything to you. I've been trying out all the colour systems, and they're really cool. I think I like Ulthway the best. Ulthway, they're just the very standard core of the Eldar, the most famous craft world. But this game against the computer seems to have gone very well. Obviously, the computer